greater love. Oh yeah. So the truth is telling me, sing of liberation for the ones who are not free. What can take us higher? Reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah, yeah. We let it wash over us. We let it make us kinder. We let it lift us higher. We let it be. We let it early in the morning. We let hold us together. We let it now and forever. We let it be. We let it. Still some cry along the way, walking through the sadness for a world that needs to know. Love can take us higher. Reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah. So the truth is telling me, love's the only answer. And to all humanity, we can stay inspired. Reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah. We let it wash over us. We let it make us kinder. We let it lift us higher. We let it be. We let it early in the morning. We let hold us together. We let it now and forever. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the be. We let the be wash over us. We let it be. We let the love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let it be.
So, I'm Sharon Ramey, and I am so excited to be here today. I have to tell you that I became a member of, well, actually, didn't become a member for a while, but I started attending here over 20 years ago. And for the first couple of years, anybody relate to this? For the first couple of years, I sat way in the back on the left-hand side with my daughter sometimes, and in the old fellowship hall. We sat back way in the back because I wanted to make sure nobody would talk to me. I was I'm pretty shy in crowds, and I would come in late and I would leave early just so that I didn't really have interaction. Nobody relates to that, huh? Yeah. And but after about 2 years, I started to feel safer, and I decided that I liked this philosophy enough that I would maybe start to take some classes. Well, they're pretty sneaky here because they wait until you actually pay your money until they tell you that you're going to have to be a part of a small group that shares your most authentic self. And I had at that time spent many, many years covering up that authentic self to make sure that people just saw the perfect self, right? And yet, so I was terrified. I was terrified that somehow they were going to find out who I really was. And they did find out who I really was. They found out, like I found out of them, that we were all truly precious. They supported my dreams. They prayed me through challenges. They became really good friends, 10 people that I never met before. And I got to the point where I would show up at church, like looking around for them, and run up to one of them afterwards and say, "You're never going to believe what happened because of your prayers." And it was truly a closeness. And I thought I was done until I signed up for the next class and they said, "Oh, you're going to be in a different small group." It's panic all over again. But the same thing happened. The same thing happened. So over the course of years, over small group after small group after small group, I got to the point where I could walk into the center and I had so many friends who I knew were cheering for me and who I was cheering for. That's pretty darn amazing, really amazing. So I grew to love this center. I couldn't wait for Sundays because it was really fun to come to church and see people I knew and all of us be together and supporting each other. And it was a little, I talked here last September and told you a little bit about some of the challenges we were going through as a church. And one of the big one was kind of about our building. As many of you know, or some of you know, we got a huge mortgage on this building. We moved in 10 years ago, and we got a 10-year mortgage on this building with the idea that we'd always be able to refinance, right? I mean, my husband and I do some real estate investment, and we have mortgages that come due, and we just call the bank and say, you know, we'd like to extend it, and they're like, sure, well, the rates have gone up or the rates have gone down, and we'll adjust it. But it never seems like a big problem. And I think that's kind of what was happening with the church here, that we didn't think it was going to be any problem, you know, bing, bang, you know, just go and get it refinanced. Well, when Don Beatty and Chris Carter decided to go in, about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, to talk to the bank said, no, we don't want to be doing this anymore. That felt like a door slamming. Can you just feel that? All of a sudden, multi-million-dollar loan, all of a sudden, yeah, you're going to have to pay that come April of 2017. Bye. Does anybody here get what that feeling of hopelessness and powerlessness in the face of that feels like? And yet, we are a spiritual community, so we know to go to prayer. So could all the practitioners in the room please stand up? This is a sampling of all the practitioners that Kathy Ann and the board and the congregation turn to. So let's thank them. Because there was this idea that we do want to keep this center going, but we needed to do something. So the first thing we do in this teaching is turn to prayer, right? We turn to God. So we turned to all of these practitioners and said, start praying. So then the idea came up that, wow, we could go and get a loan from somebody else. It doesn't have to be this bank. So Don and Chris trotted into a different bank that is known for making church mortgages, and that bank said, we'll make you a loan, but only for a fraction of what you need. Can you feel the door slamming shut again? And they thought, okay, well, we're supported in prayer. We'll go try a different bank. And that bank shut. And then it came out, it's like, okay, Spirit, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? And the idea came that we should sell the building. So they started to research that with the board and with all of the incredible intellect and all the incredible brilliance and all the incredible capabilities that was on the board. They all came together with different ideas, and it finally came down to, I guess we have to sell. And so they started researching selling and found out that there was a restriction on the deed here. That it can only be sold to certain types of owners. And all of a sudden, the number of buyers that we have for our property shrunk to about maybe 5%. Slam, door slamming shut again. Can you guys appreciate again how all of a sudden it's feeling hopeless and we're feeling powerless and all of that? Anybody ever been in a situation where they've been told no that many times that it just feels like we don't know what to do anymore? But thank God we have prayer. Thank you, practitioners. Thank you, we have the brilliance of the board. Thank you that we have all of these people that were coming together with making their contribution, because the contribution that Don Beatty was making, the contribution Chris Carter was making, was different from the contribution that like Paul Ramey on the board was making, or Cindy Clay, or Ray Babello, or any of the number of people that were giving input. Each person's contribution was different, but somehow everybody all together made a difference. And guess what? A miracle happened. A miracle that was a bigger good than any of us could have possibly thought would happen. Have you ever had that happen? Yeah, where something bigger than you could have possibly thought, something better than you could have possibly thought came into your life. That's what happened. And the miracle was, I can't tell you. You'll find out at the annual meeting next week at 12:45, right here. It's open to everyone. Come and find out what the incredible miracle was. But suffice it to say that there is a giant, wonderful miracle that has happened for our community. Now, I'm not here. My job here today isn't about telling you about the miracle. My job here today is to tell you about the process so you can use it. Okay? So the first part of that, what happened with the board, with the congregation, with the practitioners, with the staff, with everybody, is number one, we had an incredible idea that we wanted to keep going. We wanted this church to keep going because it provided, like what Karen said, the healing and the hope that it provided for her, the community and the connection it provided for me, and all of the things that it's provided for all of you because you keep coming. We want that to continue, don't we? Can I hear an amen? So that was the first thing. We were in love with the idea that there could be the continuation of this community. Now remember, everybody remember 2 weeks ago when Kathy Ann was talking and she said power starts with love? Yeah, do we remember that? Yes. Okay. That really the big power is love. And this whole month we're talking about power. So I want you to see that the beginning of power with regards to what happened in this center. The beginning of going from powerlessness to power started with the love of this idea, the love that we are a community that can keep going and keep expanding this message to millions of people. We're in love with the idea that what has empowered us, we can share with the world. We're in love with that idea. Okay, so you got that? That's the first step, to be in love with an idea. Second of all is to start bringing in your posse. That was last week's Kathy Ann talk, remember? Yes, do we remember last week? Yes, she talked about the power in the posse, power in your prayer posse, right? She talked about the power that comes from coming together and praying together. Well, I dare say it's not just the coming together and praying together. It's the posse that comes together, like the board and the staff and the practitioners and the congregation, that all of them brought different ways of being together, different gifts, different talents that they all brought. And it all contributed to the miracle. Do you see that? The last time I spoke, I talked about a movie called Arrival. You remember that? I mean, did you ever see the movie? You don't have to remember the talk, but if you saw the movie said the earth was going to be decimated. Okay, it was going to go to hell in a handbasket, basically. And the only thing that could save the world was for all of these countries, each of them had a piece of the puzzle that was needed so that the extraterrestrials wouldn't destroy the earth. So each of them had a piece of the puzzle, and it was theirs to contribute that piece of the puzzle to each other. Now, these are people that weren't talking to each other or were enemies or whatever, and yet, in order to save the world, they had to come together with their piece of the puzzle. You got that? What if that's the way God set this whole thing up? What if that's the way infinite intelligence set it up for all of us? That there was something we wanted, whether it was something for our world or even something in our life that we loved so much that we were willing to get together with other people who could contribute to it. What if that is the way it's all supposed to work? So let's back up again. Does anybody have an idea of something that they would love to see in this world? Does anybody have, Paul, what would you love to see in the world?
To see thriving businesses, growing businesses.
Okay, Paul would like to see thriving, growing businesses in this world. What about somebody else? Scream it out again. Sustainable urban farming. Thank you. Anybody else? One more. Wellness at community centers. Okay, so, go ahead. One more. Clean water for everyone. Do you see how these are huge ideas, right? Now, do any of you, those of you who brought those ideas up, and those of you who are thinking of your own ideas, do any of you ever feel like, oh my God, that's just too big of an idea? Anybody? No, you don't, okay? Paul? Sometimes, okay? Does yours feel kind of big and overwhelming at times? So, Emma Curtis Hopkins says, this is good. Overwhelm is good. Because she says, when we finally get to the place where it's too big for us individually, we start to turn to God. We start to, first of all, you see, we're in love with an idea. Second of all, we start to create our posse, and guess who's in our posse? God. That's right. First person in the posse is God. Right? Or I shouldn't say person. First entity in the posse is God, right? And then from that, as we include God in the posse, then all of a sudden, the other talent, the other resources that we need will appear. Do you guys remember that quote by, not Goethe, it's assigned to Goethe, but it's not really, it's William H. Murray, right, Reverend Deb? I think it's William H. Murray who says, the moment one commits, like if you commit to your dream, right? You commit to this dream you love. The moment one commits, providence moves too. And all sorts of things will happen and things will come to you that you never thought would otherwise have occurred. So the moment you bring God in and you think, oh my gosh, I need, let's see, in order to have thriving businesses in the world, I need some people to help me teach classes on that, or I need places to teach classes. So things start to come to you that enable you to live that out. You got that? This is yes? Okay. So the first thing you do is fall in love with your idea because there's power in the love, right? The second thing you do is there's power in the posse. So you create your posse. First, look up. Get God into your posse, and second of all, open up to all the people that are needed coming into your life. Okay? That might mean an accountant. That might mean partners. That might mean a lawyer. That might mean people that have really creative ideas. It could be anybody, but you open up to that coming in. Okay, now for the last part. Guess what the last part is? You contribute. See, it's not really a partnership if your partners do everything. Paul. Just kidding. Yesterday was our 39th wedding anniversary. And the day before that, I said, I don't want to celebrate our wedding anniversary because you didn't do what you said you'd do. So, but by yesterday, I was over it. So anyway, I love you, honey. So a partnership is not about having everybody else do it for you as equally as it's not about you doing it all yourself. In partnership, there is a division of duties. So when you create partnerships, you say what you want to do, you say what you want God to do, and you say what you want your partners to do. You got that? Mostly, I tell God what I really want to do, that I would be happy to do, and I say, you handle everything else. And then if I need other partners, they come. But the part about you contributing, a lot of times we don't take on the big ideas because they're big, they look hard, they look... it looks like we don't have the resources, we don't have the time, we don't have the know-how. We don't take it on because of those things. That's why we get partners. But the second thing is sometimes we feel, and you don't have to admit to this, but I'll admit to this, sometimes we feel as though our part has to be hard. If this is a big idea, our part has to be hard. Any of you ever been there? Like I have to buy into the hard part. I have to actually do it to show that I'm worthy of this big idea. And what if that wasn't true? What if the grand design was as easy as showing up to sing, right? Knowing that you were contributing to something big. So, have you ever been involved in something where you could tell someone was sacrificing? And they were like doing what they didn't do, what they didn't love. It's not a fun feeling, is it? So, if you commit in the big ideas that you have, if you commit to doing what you love to do, that will be contagious. and love has power. Do what you love to do. That will be contagious, and that love has power. Got that? Okay, so let me give you a few examples. And these are from, you already heard from Karen Cleveland, who does counting money, right? She loves to count money. She told me she loves to count money. Now, what would not be hers to do? She said data entry, not hers to do. Okay? Another person with the Creating a Better World ministry, Tim, are you here, honey? Tim Brinsfield? He's out in the hall. Okay, Tim Brinsfield, some of you know, and I throw Mike Thorson in on this too, because both of them work the Create a Better World ministry. And what Tim said is he's about helping people. He's about building things and building community. And I said, so what's the activity that you really like to do? And he says, I love to build. I love to build. And with hammer, nails, all of that. And he says, I also love to ask people to come and help me, to be part of it. That's what he loves to do. I said, what do you hate to do? He says, I hate to fundraise. Do you see how he loves the building part? And there are people that he needs in his posse, that he will draw forth in his posse, who love to fundraise. Okay? There are people who love to fundraise. I talked with Keith Jefferson and in the Coming of Age program, and he said that his dream, his love, is to be involved in coming of age so that kids can be the best that they can be, that they can have a rocket start in the world. And I asked him about what was his favorite thing, what he'd love to do, and he says, be a companion and witness their growth for these teens. When I said, what do you hate to do? He goes, at CSL, there's really nothing I hate to do. I talked to Stephen Sanders, and he works at Coming of Age too. And he says, do you hear the idea? I love that we have a place that kids can learn how to stand in their own power. What do you love to do, Stephen? I love to run the sweat lodge. I love to do the vision quests. What do you hate, Stephen? I hate to chop wood. And finally, I talked with Janelle. Janelle, is she in here? No, she's over. She runs the youth and family program. And I said, why do you do what you do? She says, because I love the idea that kids can grow up knowing and using the basics of science and mind in this world. She says, I said, what do you love to do? What's your contribution that you love to do? She says, I love connecting with the families. I love sharing what their kids are doing and how we can do better. I said, what do you hate to do? Change diapers. But there are people who love to change diapers, who want to be a part of this. So what I want you to see is that first you fall in love with an idea. Okay? Second of all, you start getting your posse around you, including God, right? Your prayer partners. And then let the people who want to chop wood, who want to change diapers, who want to fundraise, there are people who want to do that, and they will come to you. But your job, don't try to make it happen. Your job is just to daily say, what's mine to contribute? What is mine to do today? What is mine to contribute that is fun and that I love? Got that? So, okay, notes again. So, the trick is you contribute something every day, and things will fall in place. Oh, here's the other thing. There's 3 F's that you're going to get out of this. My daughter's sitting in the front. She goes, Mom. Thank you. 3 F's, you're going to get some fun. Because you know what? I mean, ask Mike Thorson. Mike, have you ever been involved in any kind of volunteering here at the Center for Spiritual Living that wasn't fun for you? What? Oh, no? Oh, okay, that's what I thought you said. Mike is the king of fun. I mean, anybody who's been to Mississippi with him knows that he creates the most loving, fun environment wherever he goes. So fun and family and friends, that's the first thing you're going to get out. That's 3 F's, but I'm putting it in one. The second thing that you're going to get out is a sense of fulfillment. How many of you have ever contributed, done what you love to do, and you feel fulfilled, like a big dream is being realized? It's true. You're part of something. You contribute, and you start to see good is happening in the world, and you're a part of it. And then the first thing is fun with family and friends. And the second thing is fulfillment. And the third is you grow in faith. Faith that you've got some power to make a difference. And once you see that you have power to make a difference, when you see that you have power to make a difference, then when the next big thing comes to tickle you, saying, come here, you can love this, you'll be able to say, I can, because I'm a woman or a man of power. So, thank you. Thank you. So, in summary, remember, there's power in love. Fall in love with the idea. Fall in love with your contribution. Second, there's power in the posse. Go to God first. Make God part of your posse, and then get your practitioner and your prayer partners around to support you. And then watch as the other people to support your idea will come. And then third and final, there's power in your contribution. You make a difference, whether it's a smile at the person on the bus or whether it's chopping wood or changing diapers. You make a contribution. You got that? So, let's pray. This is the only way the world will change. As we see all these things in the world that make us feel powerless, all these things in the world that make us feel hopeless, we are called to rise up in power. We are called to identify with that source of power, knowing that what it is, we are. We are called to bring our power out of hiding and to allow it to shine brilliantly in the world. And so I call every person here to pay attention. Pay attention to the song of your heart. For often, the song of your heart is telling you exactly what it wants you to be part of. Love that idea. Let yourself fall in love with it, for in the love there is power. Second, bring together your posse. Oh my, we turn to the Holy Spirit. And we just allow the blessings to flow over us, the people to come into our lives, the resources and everything, such that all we are left to do is that which we love. All we are left to do is that which we can contribute and feel happy and excited about. All we are left to do is just one thing, contribution every day. And so I just give thanks. I give thanks that this is the way we were all designed. I give thanks that there's a huge idea calling us forth, calling us to play with one another, to become pieces of the puzzle that all fit together for beautiful solutions in the world. I call us all to step into our power now. I call it good, I call it God, I call it power, and so it is.